How are you doing, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is just a bit of an update about the fan forum that happened last night at the Pirelli, and basically just a few things that were mentioned during the night. Tom Davidson started it off basically saying that it's been a challenging period for him. There's been challenges off and on the field that they weren't expecting, and that they've had a lot of things to learn in this short space of time. But I think they always knew it was going to be a tough first year as an ownership group and with the club itself. He mentioned that they had a plan in theory as an ownership group, and that plan now has had to adjust because the environment has completely changed. He also said they made changes in the boardroom that obviously they couldn't anticipate at the start of the season, but that's life, things happen, and you do have to change sometimes. Reiterated that the parted ways with Mark Robinson sooner than anticipated. Also spoke about, a few times that the club needs to be sustainable and, wanting the reach to go far outside of Burton for such a small club. And that he wanted to create a bridge from Burton to the Nordics, a bit like the way Wrexham have for the United States, whatever that means. One of the questions from one of the fans was, were the players that were signed the right players? And rightly so, we're going to ask these kind of questions. And Tom actually responded basically saying that, the recruitment could have been done another way, and that there are adjustments needed, which I think we can all see that. One of the questions was, do we think Division 2 is inevitable? And can we actually stay up? And Tom reiterated, that the plan, the target is to stay in this division. But they have to plan for another scenario, and it's only right that they do. Mentioned about the fan advisory board and that being closed. There should be some news on that in the new year, so we'll see what happens there. But going back to the plan of obviously if relegation was to happen, there's a plan in place, from what he said, and that plan is to get back up to League One as soon as possible. Someone else mentioned why head coach and not manager, and we've been over this before, but they believe in their model. They believe a head coach is the right way of going about it, with a head of football to support them and a head of recruitment in there. So we've got to go with their model. It's what they believe in, but they've got to get a plan in place for the January transfer window and change it from how it was before. Someone did ask about, the commitments of the owners to the club. Are they committed for longevity and what have you? And obviously, there are commitments there from the owners, and they have to run it responsibly. We don't want to risk the club, is what they said. And yeah, completely on board with that. You don't want to be going willy-nilly like some other clubs we've seen in the EFL, unfortunately. But ultimately, they are committed to try and get the sports side right where the club's concerned. Recruitment was brought up. Obviously, Tom reiterated in the summer it was a data-led approach, and that maybe there was too much data and not enough about EFL experience and the kind of players that were probably needed. But now there is a recruitment group, as been mentioned, with a lot of EFL experience, and that knows Burton Albion as well. So hopefully going forward we should see improvements with the recruitment side of things. Because at that point we were told today there will potentially be news about that. And one of the things was there's an ex-head of data from somewhere else around the Football League with a lot of experience who is actually coming into the club. So that's seen as a positive. Tom did say he takes responsibility, for what's happened. They probably went in too narrow-minded. So, openly admitted mistakes were made. And then somebody asked about, the playing side with Elliot Watt's comments about, being a divide there and what have you. Tom says, the players all seem to be getting on. No real divide from what he was saying. So, be interesting to see what, obviously, a new head coach will do for this team. He also touched on the actual recruitment process for a new head coach, and they said they had interviewed a few candidates, but they'd not got the relevant experience they were sort of looking for. So they said no to a few people. And ultimately the reason they decided on Gary Bowyer was because they think he gives us a good chance of surviving in League One this season. They also mentioned one assistant coach will be coming in with Gary Bowyer, but as yet we're not sure who that is. At this point, I do want to say all the best to Tom Hounsell. He's obviously decided to part ways with the club. He was asked to stay on, but he's decided he's going to go and seek other challenges, which is fair enough. Brayford staying on as the defensive coach, and Jake Keane staying as goalkeeping coach, so a bit of stability there at least. One of the last things that was mentioned was that Tom's always happy to talk to people. So like, if you're respectful with him, he will always sit down and have a conversation with you and discuss things about the club. So that was nice to hear. And that's the kind of feelings we've had from the start of the season. He's always been quite happy to have a chat with people. We had pretty much a short break just after that, and then this happened.
To a man who has taken Blackpool to the Championship. He took Dundee to the Scottish Premiership. Your new head coach, Mr. Gary Bowyer.
So yeah, Gary Bowyer, new head coach. Came into the room to a decent round of applause, and yeah, from what he was saying, he seems up for the challenge, and he wants to stay in this division. That's ultimately what he said. His aim for this season is to stay in League One. Gary was asked what he expects from the team, and basically said he's expecting a hard-working team that fights for the shirt, and that is all as fans you can ask for. But he did reiterate that Ryan Sweeney obviously is happy that he's at the club. Obviously he knows him from his Dundee days. And both Keane and Brayford both said they were looking forward to the challenge ahead. And the last thing really that was said in the night was Bowie's request to the fans, and that was basically to stay behind the team and give them a backing from the terraces, which, to be fair, starts this Saturday against Exeter. I know Brewers Union were chatting last night, but we've got to get behind the lads on Saturday. It's a massive game now. And let's stick together. These games over the Christmas period. We've got Exeter on Saturday, Birmingham Boxing Day, Huddersfield, and then Peterborough on New Year's Day. Really busy time of year. We've got to try and go into it and try and pick some points up on the board. And on that note, one of the comments I made previously about the price of tickets, the fact that Birmingham City are charging an adult £30 to go there on Boxing Day is absolutely scandalous. You can get away tickets in the Premier League for that kind of price. It is absolutely shocking for League One football. I know I'm not the only one that's mentioned that, but yeah, it's ridiculous, that is. So yes guys, if you've enjoyed this little update about the forum last night, I'd appreciate a like and a subscribe. Me and Jack will catch you on Saturday for the Exeter game. Thanks for watching.